The Woman in Cabin 10 is a psychological thriller film released in 2025, directed by Simon Stone and starring Keira Knightley as the protagonist, Laura "Lo" Blacklock. The movie combines elements of mystery, suspense, and psychological drama, following a woman who witnesses what she believes to be a murder on board a luxury yacht, only to find that no one believes her and the supposed victim appears never to have existed. What follows is a tense journey into paranoia, truth, and survival on the open sea. The story begins with Laura Blacklock, a travel journalist who works for a luxury lifestyle magazine. Lo has recently been recovering from a deeply traumatic experience. Her apartment was broken into while she was home, leaving her shaken and sleepless. This incident has intensified her anxiety and distrust of her own perceptions. Despite her lingering fear, she accepts a new assignment that promises to be glamorous, an exclusive trip aboard a luxury cruise yacht called the Aurora Borealis. The voyage, organized by a wealthy couple, is meant to promote a new line of luxury travel and a charitable foundation. Lo views this assignment as a chance to redeem herself professionally and emotionally. Her career has been stagnating, and this feature story could boost her profile at the magazine. However, from the outset, the tone of her journey is uneasy. Her boss suggests the trip will be a relaxing experience, yet Lo approaches it with both excitement and apprehension. She is determined to perform well but carries her psychological fragility like a silent burden. Upon boarding the Aurora Borealis, Lo finds herself surrounded by elite guests, journalists, investors, and celebrities, each with their own motives for being there. The ship is small but impeccably designed, more like a floating mansion than a cruise liner. Lo's cabin is positioned next to Cabin 10, which at first appears to be occupied by a mysterious young woman. The host of the voyage, Richard Bolmer, and his terminally ill wife, Anne Lyngstad, welcome the guests aboard. Anne, frail yet radiant, is set to make an announcement about her philanthropic work during the voyage. As Lo mingles, she meets several key figures: Richard, the charming but intimidating billionaire host, Anne, his enigmatic and seemingly kind wife, a few influential journalists, and Ben, a photographer with whom Lo once had a brief romantic history. There is tension between Lo and Ben, adding to her discomfort. Despite the luxury around her, she feels out of place, the imposter among the rich, constantly aware of her own insecurity. That evening, after drinks and formal introductions, Lo returns to her cabin. She realizes she forgot her mascara and, knocking on the next door, borrows some from the woman staying in Cabin 10. This woman, young, blonde, and seemingly anxious, becomes the focus of Lo's attention. Their brief exchange feels strange. The woman is polite but hurried, and Lo notices something unsettling in her demeanor. Nonetheless, she thanks her and returns to her room. Later that night, as the ship sails through open waters, Lo is startled awake by a loud noise, a scream, followed by a heavy splash. She rushes to the balcony and sees something she will never forget, a body or object being thrown into the dark sea from the adjacent cabin. Her heart races. She immediately calls security, reporting that she believes someone has gone overboard. However, when the crew arrives to investigate, nothing is found. There are no signs of struggle in Cabin 10. Even more confusing, they insist that Cabin 10 was empty from the beginning of the trip. No guest was ever checked into that room. Lo insists she met a woman there just the day before, but her account is met with skepticism. The ship's records show that all passengers and crew are accounted for. The woman she describes appears on no list. Lo is humiliated and frustrated. Some crew members suggest she must have been dreaming or misheard something, perhaps influenced by alcohol or the anti-anxiety medication she takes. A few passengers give her sympathetic looks, but most seem wary of her, as though she has caused unnecessary trouble. The captain reassures her that no one is missing, but Lo can't shake the image of the body disappearing into the waves. After the incident, Lo's credibility begins to erode. She tries to focus on her assignment, but she can't stop thinking about the woman in Cabin 10. She searches for clues, sneaking around the ship in quiet corridors and lower decks. In the guest lounge, she overhears conversations suggesting that certain people aboard are not who they claim to be. She also notices strange inconsistencies in the staff's behavior, nervous glances, cryptic whispers, and attempts to redirect her questions. Lo's anxiety grows. At times, even she begins to question herself. Was it possible she imagined the entire thing? Could her trauma and sleeplessness have blurred reality? Yet, when she finds a single clue, a smear of blood on the veranda railing outside cabin 10, her fears seem justified. She takes a photograph of it as evidence, but when she later returns with security, the stain is gone. The disappearance of the bloodstain pushes her into deeper paranoia. Lo begins to suspect that someone aboard the yacht is deliberately covering up what happened. At one point, she overhears Richard Bulmer arguing with a member of the crew. His tone is controlling and threatening, though she can't make out the words. She also notices Anne, his wife, seems increasingly distant and uneasy, as if hiding something. As the voyage continues, Lo's investigation becomes more dangerous. She sneaks into restricted areas of the yacht, discovering documents, guest lists, and surveillance logs that don't match the official records. During one of her secret searches, she finds a phone and several personal belongings in a storage compartment that appear to belong to the missing woman. This discovery confirms her belief: the woman was real. Soon after, Lo confronts Anne, who reacts with fear rather than surprise. Anne urges Lo to stop asking questions, warning her that the yacht is not as safe as it seems. Lo begins to realize that Anne may not be who she claims to be. During a tense scene in Anne's suite, Lo notices small details: a different accent, a tattoo that doesn't match older photographs of Anne, and subtle inconsistencies in her story. Gradually, Lo pieces together the horrifying truth: the real Anne is dead, and the woman pretending to be her is an imposter. The woman, whose name is revealed to be Carrie, confesses in a moment of desperation. She explains that Richard hired her to impersonate Anne for the duration of the cruise. The real Anne had discovered her husband's financial crimes and planned to expose him, as well as to donate her vast fortune to charity, cutting Richard out entirely. To stop her, Richard killed Anne and devised an elaborate cover-up, replacing her with Carrie, who bore a striking resemblance to his late wife. Carrie was promised safety and payment in exchange for maintaining the deception until the voyage concluded, but things spiraled out of control when she tried to back out, and someone, possibly another accomplice, tried to dispose of her. After learning the truth, Lo becomes a target. Richard discovers that she knows too much. He has her locked in her cabin under the pretense that she's hysterical and suffering a breakdown. Her phone and laptop are confiscated, cutting her off from any outside help. The tension builds as she tries to escape, realizing that if she doesn't act soon, she may not survive the voyage. Carrie secretly visits Lo, bringing her food and explaining that she too is now in danger. Richard has decided to eliminate any loose ends, including her. The two women form an uneasy alliance. Carrie confides that she has evidence of Richard's crimes hidden on the ship, documents and recordings that could prove everything. Together, they hatch a plan to escape and expose him. During a stormy night, Lo manages to break free from her cabin. She and Carrie sneak through the lower deck, pursued by Richard's security staff. In one of the film's most intense sequences, Lo hides in a cargo hold while Richard searches for her, taunting her over the intercom and insisting that no one will believe her even if she survives. The claustrophobic setting, combined with the sound of the raging sea, heightens the sense of isolation and terror. The climax occurs during a formal dinner meant to celebrate the success of the voyage. Lo bursts into the event, injured and desperate, accusing Richard of murder in front of the guests. At first, everyone is stunned into silence. Richard tries to dismiss her as unstable, claiming she's been hallucinating and creating wild stories. But Lo presents her evidence: a photograph of the bloodstain, the belongings she found, and Carrie herself, who appears before everyone and confirms Lo's account. Chaos erupts. Richard, cornered, grabs Carrie and attempts to escape to the upper deck. A struggle ensues in which Richard tries to push both women overboard to erase the witnesses. However, in a reversal of roles, Carrie fights back, and Lo helps her overpower him. In the ensuing scuffle, Richard is shot by one of his own guards, who realizes what he has done. He falls into the ocean, disappearing beneath the waves, just as the mysterious woman had earlier. Time passes, and Lo is back home in London. She has written a powerful exposé revealing Richard Bulmer's crimes, his fraud, and the murder of Anne Lyngstad. Her story becomes headline news, exposing the corruption hidden beneath the veneer of luxury. Her magazine publishes her account, and she gains widespread recognition for her bravery and persistence. Despite her professional triumph, Lo remains haunted by what happened. She still struggles with sleep and occasionally questions what is real.